Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon wherever we find you. My name's Jamie, and this is Bad News. Today, gender assignment surgery blocked in Scotland until 25, Chagossians speak out, and foreign nurses face discrimination. No episode last week. I recorded one, but didn't post. It's low effort, and I didn't want to post a video unless it pushes me in the right direction. I'm ill this week, I'm wearing my pyjamas, but I'm going to push on and try and get you behind the news and in front of it at the same time. Last week, the Trans Safety Network, a charity involved in promoting gender-affirming care, was informed on Friday that the Chalmers Centre in Edinburgh will cease surgical referrals for under 25s. This comes from the CAS report's recommendation that more data must be acquired before the NHS can accept liability for performing gender-affirming care. Until further review of the referral process is complete, the NHS cannot justify this as a potential risk. What's interesting about this piece is that this is being treated as if trans surgery has been banned. It only feels this way, though, because of the tight grip our NHS has on our medical industry. If you are trans and you want healthcare, promote alternatives, promote your right to medical choice, and go private. Regardless of what you think about the debate, 18 to 25s are legally adults and should have the right to do whatever they want under the best professional standards possible. You will never get this with a public healthcare model. That's all I have to say on the issue. Next up, the Chagossian charity, Chagossian Voices, issued a statement in the wake of Parliament's upcoming debate on the Chagos Islands' sovereignty. It is a damning letter, written to David Lammy, the Foreign Secretary, that above all, accuses him of straight-up lying. They said, "We refer to remarks made in the Parliament following your statement concerning the issue. You stated the following: we kept Chagossians involved along the way. We sought to keep the Chagossians informed along the way. My view is that the previous government also sought to do that. Of course, we have been in dialogue and discussions with the Chagossians. My honourable friend the Minister of State has met them regularly." Here's the Chagossians' response. "We believe that none of the above statements are true. They claim that they received no communication since July and had only one meeting where they were told they were not allowed to mention the negotiations. We reached out to them when they were in opposition. The previous government did not communicate with them either, other than on Teams with no agenda and seemingly just to touch base and all that meaningless rubbish. Another great example of the government doing exactly what it was built to do: give underachieving private school kids a job in the city." In other news, The Guardian claims that foreign doctors suffer discrimination throughout their careers. Doctors of BAME origin disproportionately being reported to by their employers for misconduct compared to their British-trained counterparts. Did you catch the slip-up? I'll say it again. They cited many instances of doctors of BAME origin disproportionately being reported to by their employees for misconduct compared to their British-trained counterparts. The article claims that BAME, ethnic minorities, are reported for misconduct more. Why? Because there isn't a single British, non-British trained doctor. They just don't exist. The article infers that this is a discrimination issue. While they're correct, they're wrong about what the issue is discriminating against. The only facts stated in this article are thus: British-trained doctors are less likely to be accused of professional misconduct. The bulk of non-British-trained doctors are BAME. Correlation does not mean causation, however, and it is much more likely that the cause behind their lack of reported professional conduct is due to the fact that their non-British training does not meet those reported professional standards. Their Guardian fixed it for you. It's funny because we all said this would happen back in 2023 when the visa rules for foreign doctors changed. We made a political choice to import cheaper doctors on lower standards, while rejecting the best and brightest British kids from going to medicine school because of arbitrary thresholds set by Cameron's government. Hundreds of kids who received 3 A's in their A-levels did not get to train because they'd rather outsource their training to Nigeria, Cuba, and India. That's all for today, folks. I think it's pretty clear observations this week is that the media is very, very slimy. In the sense that they're not reporting on issues in this case. They have biases and they're just vibing along with whatever catches their drift. There's a lot of, criticism against the CAS report about what it says and what it doesn't say, but realistically, the CAS report is extremely vague, and everybody knows this. The truth is, there's no amount of research that's enough to prove any claims that we've made about, the value of gender-affirming care. And obviously, you can speak to trans people individually, and a lot of them will tell you that their gender-affirming care works. It works. So what do we have to do? We have to catalogue this data. We have to make literally every piece of information available to doctors and the government so that we know what we're doing. But realistically, it's about telling the government what to do. It's about telling the government what they can and can't do, what they should and shouldn't do, etc., etc. The same thing with the doctors issue. The issue is brought to light because of discrimination or because of unfair treatment. But the reality behind it is disparate outcomes, And just because there are disparate outcomes does not mean that these people are being discriminated against because of the colour of their skin or their ethnicity or anything like these. They are being discriminated against, yes. And quite often, like this same thing with the CAS report too, is yes, transgender people are kind of being discriminated in these studies. But that's what studies do. That's what data does. It discriminates. It says, look, we've got a bunch of doctors here trained in Britain. They don't get caught up for professional misconduct as much as those that weren't. That's discriminatory, but it's also true. It's another thing with it's one of these things that we have to understand that when we're looking at data, it's absolutely okay to have your opinion, but you have to acknowledge the data and what the data says. And quite often the data can suggest certain things, but it's not always definitive. Just because it comes from a scientist, it's not definitive. But yeah, hope you guys have a good day. I've been having a good week, very busy. Hope you're all right. And I'll catch you next week. Thank you very much. See you later.